All right, this video is by request and hopefully appreciated because it required the downloadation of quite a few weapons to get this done. All right, so something that comes up with Trijicon HDs, but not often enough, because usually what you hear is, hey, I'm looking at a bunch of sites, should I put Trijicon HDs on there? And everyone's like, yes. It's like when you compare any other scope online to a Night Force, everyone just says Night Force. This video is kind of by request. A few people ask me what the hell I'm talking about when I say Trijicon HDs are great, they're not good for everything. One thing you'll notice is almost always the Trijicon HDs will be taller than the original sights, and in some ways that's a good thing. So starting off first with the Glock. On the right hand side is off my 34 and the left hand side is my wife's 19. So what I'm talking about is you're going to have a point of aim, point of impact shift. Now on some guns it's going to be very negligible. Like on this Glock 19 on my left, you can see the sights are pretty low profile, and then on the right, the 34 is a little bit higher, but not by much. So the point of impact shift is so negligible you probably won't even notice, and what the HDs offer you in that regard gives you a lot more than the super tiny impact shift. So what am I getting at with this? I recommend Trijicon HDs for a lot of guns, but not every single one. Mostly because in some of them, namely the VP9, P30 series, and HK45 series, the sights are too tall and they almost become a suppressor height night sight. So you'll see that. I gotta tell you, to do this video, I hate bringing this traitorous filth into my video, so I apologize to those of you that appreciate the Second Amendment. This was purchased, though, in my wife's defense, well before Springfield hung themselves, and I apologize. So there's a disclaimer. But it's already purchased. She's not going to get rid of it. So here it is. But you'll notice on this, XDS that the sights are quite high for a gun of this size. So they're not quite suppressor height night sights. They're more along the line of a 1.5. So if a standard night sight is a 1 and a suppressor height night sight is a 2, this represents a 1.5. So I hope you get what I'm trying to conceptualize here. But for proof of concept, the rear sight is a lot taller and the front sight is taller. So when comparing them to, say, a Glock, it's still kind of taller, but not really, right? But it depends on how much experience you have on the original pistol and how they work with your eye. So uniformly, do I recommend HDs? No. I'll tell you exactly what I recommend them on. And the worst offender that I've seen is the HK45 series. So and I've done this before, but just so I've had other samples in the video so you can see. But you'll notice that the sight height is considerable, especially the reference point for the dots and just the overall post height. It's very, very noticeable, and when you're shooting, there's a significant shift with the HK45s, the P30s, and the VP9s. Whereas with some other guns like my Glock, it's a welcome change because the sights are so small. So it helps and it hurts. If you're having trouble with the stock Meprolites because they're hitting too high or they're just not hitting where you want to, Trijicon HDs might be what you're looking for. But again, And the front dot on these sights are just a godsend. They are phenomenal. It's very, very fast to pick up, even with the height issue that I'm experiencing on the new generation HK pistols. But the Meprolites are what I gravitate towards. So, and again, if you look on some guns, the stock height is not super great. You'll see that especially on the P2000 series, where the middle of the post is essentially buried in the slide. So you'll see that some guns, it's so negligible on the USP series that all my USPs, full size and compacts, will have Trijicon HDs, you know, and that front dot is just a world of difference. These are not unshootable, but this is way better, easily better. The whole reason I'm making this video is to say, hey look, they're not the same across the board. I wish Trijicon did a little more QC and measuring to try to get it that way, but honestly, it's not the same. And again, so far out of all the handguns I've ever shot, the biggest offenders are going to be your new generation pistols, your HK45s, your P30 series, and your VP9s. And that might be beneficial for you if you're running a suppressed gun, but just running them on regular guns, it might cause an issue. And this traitorous filth, also the sights are a lot taller. So I've not had any trigger time on this thing, and if I started with Trijicon HDs, not a problem. So if you're buying a bunch of guns and you're never shooting them before you install the sights, might not be an issue. But if you have a lot of trigger time and you're used to the stock sight height and then you transition over, it will be an issue. So just some food for thought. My recommendations for your new generation HKs are stay with the Meprolites. They're a very, very good sight, very combat oriented, nice posts for quick acquisition, nice lineup, and they're very bright. If you are looking for something else, definitely go with the Trijicon HDs. Those are my two recommendations, are MEPS or Trijicon HDs. And if you're in Glocks, Trijicon HD is the only way to go for me, personally. And older HKs, USP series and the P2000s, highly recommend it. And yes, the P2000 sights are different than a P30, P30L. Also, if Trijicon, if you're listening, please make me some HD sights for my Mark 23. Please, please, please. And the P7 M8. Please, please, please. Please. All right, thanks for watching. Take care of each other. Stay safe and support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America.